Welcome to Founders Tales. I'm pleased to be joined by Mark Stiles today, who is the founder of Joze.ai. Mark, do you want to give everybody a quick introduction to yourself and your business?
Sure. So my name is Mark Stiles. I was an attorney for 30 years. I practiced law for 30 years, focusing on proactive planning primarily. And recently I've exited from the law, and I am a co-founder of an AI tool which is set up to solve conflict. Our mission is to solve conflict for humanity. So it's a conflict resolution tool.
Yeah, powerful mission that you guys have got there. And what was the problem that first sparked the idea for the business?
So part of it was the origin story of being a lawyer and seeing what people went through and the conflicts that weren't necessary, if you will. If they had planned proactively, they could have avoided those conflicts. And then what was actually happening when the conflict arose, and the cost, the energy, the pain associated with being in conflict and having to, hire attorneys and draw the line in the sand. I thought there must be a better way. And as I dug deeper into it and really got philosophical about it, I thought, this is no good for anybody, even the participants who are the professionals who are guiding people. It's not a healthy practice. A lot of litigators, so when you're dealing in conflict, you're focusing primarily on civil litigation. Not a happy group of people, right? It's hard to turn on and turn off. As you know, in any business, it's hard to turn off what you're doing. However, if you're trained to be a combatant, you're trained to fight, it's hard to come home and be at peace. And I noticed that along the way and wanted to help those folks as well as the people who are actually in conflict.
Yeah, makes sense. And you guys are currently in build phase. So how does your MVP look today versus, when you first started?
So we brought it through a proof of concept. We brought in a number of subject matter experts. So we wanted to test it to see if this is a tool for the B2B community. So think mediator, think lawyer. We brought in educators of alternate dispute resolution. So folks that were teaching in both business school and law schools, the art of alternate dispute resolution, which is mediation and arbitration primarily. We brought in therapists, we brought in strategic coaches, and we had them focus on what their use cases would be. And we tested it as a platform where they were in essence all the parties. So it was party A, party B, and the observer, which is that human intervention role. And they were playing all parts. And the reason we did that really was to test the algorithm. Is what we've created working? And we found that it is. So now we're moving on to real human conflict. And we're seeking folks in 3 different formats. One is the one-on-one conflict, so party A and party B, but now they're going to be siloed. So there's not one person seeing all 3 sides, which I will share with you. As I was doing it, it got confusing. When I was doing a conflict on a landlord and tenant matter, I forgot if I was the landlord or the tenant, right? So it got a little bit confusing, and you don't have that true emotion where now it's going to be siloed out and separated so that party A is party A, and they're sharing all of their wishes, dreams, aspirations, their fears, their anxieties, and what they think the other party is thinking. And likewise, that other party. We've changed the name of observer to success sherpa. So we still have that human intervention that they can oversee and help guide, and sherpa being that visual of helping carry that pack up the hill and guiding them around the difficult mountain pass. So that success sherpa can now monitor and help guide it by way of interjecting where, if necessary. And So what we're doing is we're seeking folks who are going through conflict. Primarily divorce is the go-to-market strategy that we're looking at. The reason we are choosing that is because I think everybody can relate to it. I think everybody is aware of somebody if they haven't been involved in it themselves. They know that the damage that can be caused, multi-generational trauma and damage. And we feel if we can help here, we can help anywhere. And we're also going to be coming to the market in a multiplayer version, if you will. And if we want to gamify conflict, we can, right? Let's make it a little bit more enjoyable than it needs, that it is right now. So think of a siblings, right? So there's an inheritance, and the siblings want to come to an arrangement where it makes sense for everybody. They can participate in this. And then there's another path that we're looking at very closely, which is the proactive plan, which is the one that's near and dear to my heart. I always practiced in proactive planning, right? I was never a litigator. I didn't like it. It never felt right. It didn't sit right with me. So I was always focused on helping the consumer of legal services, helping them avoid conflict, right? How do I help and make sure that they're not going to court? So the way I look at our mission, which is solving conflict for humanity, I believe that we need to get in front of the conflict in order to really meet that mission. And we're creating these proactive plans so the two parties get together. There's no conflict yet. However, are they aligned? And we're going to test that through the startup community with founder agreements. So folks who may have matched up technical and operational, but they don't really know each other, they can create this agreement going forward. Because what we've learned with founders is, there's not a problem if the company doesn't work out and it goes out of business. The problem's actually when they succeed. So how do we make sure that everyone is aligned with the same mission, and they have that firm handshake agreement of where are we going when the first funding happens? Where are we going as we succeed? And we're going to actually test this as co-founders of Joze. So Barack Cohen and myself are going to utilize the system ourselves to create our founder agreement. So I'm looking forward to that.
Fantastic. And I'd imagine after 30 years practicing law, your day-to-day is quite different today. So having thrown yourself into the startup world, the tech world, etc., what are the main things that you've learned to date that you maybe wish you knew on day one?
I love it. It's so interesting. I tell people I've reverse engineered this career thing, right? I'm a startup now in this second career, and it's really exciting. It's really inspiring, and it's really frightening. Because we're building tech in this new tech renaissance. I like to refer to it as a renaissance of this new era of abundance and these tools that will help us. And, as we build, will it work? And that's not where I am, valued in the company. So I'm not a tech person. I am not a tech founder. I have a co-founder who is wonderful and excellent. And we've actually brought in a few new members to our team. So we're very excited about that. And that we're really, creating something special. What would I do differently? I don't know, because it's really the first time and I haven't gotten to those points where it's like, should have done that better,
Yeah. I mean, there's probably people that might listen to this that have kind of, working for somebody else, but in the back of their mind, they've got, an idea or, a kind of, an idea that they want to maybe kind of throw themselves into. If people are contemplating taking that risk, is there anything kind of you'd say to people that are in that boat currently?
I would say definitely do it, right? I mean, where there's a will, there's a way. No more than ever is that true. Like if you can imagine something, it can be built. So the question is team building. Are you finding the people that can fill the void that you have, the blind spots that you have? Can you build a team that can create what your vision actually is? Can you convey your vision effectively to the folks that can help you build it? And can you create that team that's aligned with that mission and build it to a place where you can move forward together in a way that is exciting? And maybe a Joze agreement is one way of doing that if you don't know the people that well. Because I think what happens a lot of times in every part of the world is, people assume things, right? They assume that somebody has a basic fundamental understanding. I've never been part of a startup. I started a law firm and ran a personal services company for many years and had many individual contributors. However, I've never been in this tech world. So my assumptions are, more than likely wrong. So, can we have these conversations? Can we share vulnerably? And can we, build together? So I think matching and matching personalities, matching visions, and separating roles and responsibilities effectively would be the advice I would give.
Yeah, thanks for that. And you kind of mentioned that you guys have started building out the team, and you've got some good people joining, which is great to hear. Is when you have been hiring, are there any particular kind of qualities, how did you kind of try and identify startup DNA in individuals, or have you kind of prioritized people's kind of alignment to the mission that you guys have? What was your kind of priorities when it came to hiring?
That's the key, is do they align with the mission? And most people do. When you really start talking with someone about helping resolve conflict, helping ease pain, people align with it. People understand conflict. People know that there is probably a better way. So that is priority number one. If the folks aren't that excited about it, then it's probably not a good fit. But the people that we've talked to, by and large, are very excited about the mission and, want to be a part of the mission. And then it becomes, what is your availability, and what do you have the ability to prioritize? And are you a person that, can fit the role that we need to fill?
Yeah, brilliant. And are there, in terms of the Boston startup ecosystem, have there been any particular meetups, mentors, resources that have proven to be really useful to you guys so far?
Yeah, so I've been working out of the Venture Lane location in Court Street in downtown Boston. So it's an incubator, but it's also a co-working environment, and the energy there is tremendous. It's a give first mindset. It's a, how can I help mindset. There's people who have been there, people who have built, exited, built, crashed, started over, all of the experiences and the sharing that you would want as a startup. So, when I first began building with Barack, I was, out of my home or out of my former office, and going in and being part of that community has made a tremendous impact. And it allows you to be further energized and inspired, and there's people around you all willing to help, and it makes the impossible seem possible.
Yeah, and that's the point, isn't it? That everybody does truly want to help each other succeed. Good. And from those conversations that you've inevitably had at Venture Lane, what's the best piece or pieces of advice you've received from another founder that you've talked with?
Well, most of it's the introductions, right? It's the engaging, what are you working on? Oh, who can I introduce you to? There's a lot of people who are working to help the legal field, the legal industry. So, I can help make introductions there because I know some of the lawyers that are willing to, step out and be innovative. And, they see that AI can help, but they don't know how. So I can make those introductions. And the folks there are quick to say, I love what you're doing. and I know, boom, all of a sudden they're connected with somebody on LinkedIn, and it's so helpful because you don't know where those conversations are going to go, but if you didn't know them beforehand. So I would say the introductions are great, but the sharing of experiences is always great when you have the CEO roundtables and people talk about struggles, and they talk about the fundraising and all of the things that go along to that. That has been, tremendously valuable for me.
Yeah, fantastic. And then finally, how do you personally stay sane and motivated when it comes to dealing with the very high peaks and the very low troughs that come with building out your own startup?
Well, Chris, one of the best pieces of advice I received one time was somebody said, "Listen, Mark, normal people do normal things. So staying sane, I don't know if that's exactly what we want to be doing, but it is there. It's exciting. Someday it's inspiring, and you think you're going to solve conflict for the world one day, and then the next day it's like, oh, is this thing going to work? So it is a balance, and you can't get too high, you can't get too low, and you got to stay true to the mission. And we're going to get there, and we're going to have an amazing impact on a lot of human beings, which is what keeps me going and keeps me really excited about this.
Fantastic. Well, I love your passion, Mark, and I certainly love the mission of the business. So best of luck to yourself and Joze.ai moving forward. And I obviously appreciate you joining me today. It's been great having you on.
Well, thank you, Chris, and thank you for inviting me. And I hope this is helpful for anyone. And if they want to connect, I'd love to share experiences and connect with anybody.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Thanks very much.
Thank you, sir.